comes the new expensive furniture and the new expensive car, and before you know it, a little bit of a recession or job loss and their situation changes. A lot of our customers are also affected by health problems. So a lot of people come to us when there's been a turn of events in their life.
Right.
So what was great 3 years ago when they were healthy, all of a sudden they're in the hospital for 6 months, just isn't working anymore.
Right. So now this credit repair, like I see this often, that people have trouble, fixing their credit. If, let's say they're coming off a bankruptcy or something like that. Why is that, and how do you guys help?
Well, when someone has a bankruptcy, the hardest thing for the consumer to do is rebuild the credit. And it's the old philosophy, they're either going to have bad things on their credit, which is going to deter the lender from lending them new money, or they'll simply have no credit, which is just as bad as far as I'm concerned. So a lot of times, where do they get the first start? Where do they get that first piece of credit? And is that first piece of credit healthy credit? A lot of times people think, oh, well, I managed to get this credit card, that's good for my credit, and sometimes it's actually not. Sometimes it actually hurts their credit even more. So.
Right, and it's not just a one-shot deal, is it? I mean, you guys provide ongoing coaching. Yeah. How does that work?
We do a 12-month membership with our customers because we felt that, well, the realities of credit repair, you can fix something on someone's credit, and there's all sorts of technical issues where 4 months later, 5 months later, the same collection may pop back up. And it's not that anybody's re-put it on, it's system purges, and there's all kinds of other technical reasons why it could show back up. But rather than charge the customer again for doing the same thing we already did, we'll help them keep their credit clean for 12 months. And at the same time, it gives us the opportunity to help them rebuild their credit and become a fiscal, how you say, a responsible fiscal consumer. And that's really what our goal is to create a consumer that, well, for example, that a realtor can then take and sell homes to.
Right. So do you check people's credit once a month? I mean, how does that work? How do you?
The customer will always provide us their credit, and then we'll monitor, we'll scan it, we'll make sure that their score is reflective of what their credit actually looks like. We want to help the consumer be as good as they can, and 12 months is a good enough time to demonstrate where they were and where they're going.
So you're actually here in Toronto, not just to see me, Sheldon,
That's
but
right.
you're actually, you were coming in this weekend, coincidentally, fortunately, to be on Dragon's Den.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
you're actually going to be on your way there
Yeah.
in a few minutes when we're done here. What's your, why Dragon's Den? What are you trying to accomplish?
We were invited onto the Dragon's Den. It's a very interesting concept, the whole credit repair industry, because it's virtually invisible in Canada. So as far as debt settlements, as far as credit repair, it's really hard for Canadians to find these kind of companies, and I think a lot of people file bankruptcy because they don't know any better. They just, that's all they know. They know that there's no alternative, and they go ahead. So this brings great exposure to us and the company. At the same time, we're growing and growing fast, and a little bit of seed capital never hurt anybody, especially in this kind of economy.
Now,
so.
You're based in Calgary, but that doesn't matter, right? You've got an 800 number,
yeah,
people.
We've got a 1-800 number. We work right across Canada, and the reality is, if a person is living in Toronto, the chances are their creditor or their collector isn't necessarily in Toronto, so therefore we really don't need to be where the customer is. We need to be in a place where we can communicate with all the creditors, all the banks. So I mean, we're in a global environment where companies are literally spread out all over the country. So it's just a really good communication industry, and the better your communication is with creditors and collectors and agencies, the faster things get resolved. So.
Are there times when it might be better for somebody to actually go bankrupt?
There are a few situations where if you know it's not going to be settled, you're prolonging the agony, and we hate telling somebody that they should file bankruptcy. And there's very few situations where we have to do that, but there has been some cases, and those are usually when people are in dire medical situations, and you just know there's no lump sums to cut deals with.
Right.
They're not able to make even minimum payments. A lot of times we've been able to negotiate to buy someone time until they're out of hospital stay or back working in employment. But then there's been some situations where you're just prolonging the agony, and it's not fair to the consumer and certainly not fair to the creditor or collector. So.
Okay, now I think the other thing that I've seen happen is that, I'm sure you have many times, is that there can be errors.
Errors are a huge part of our business. One of the news medias did a report several years ago. They interviewed 100 people and gave them a copy of their credit reports and then told them to look at it and find errors and mistakes. 40, I believe, found errors and mistakes, and 13 of them, I believe, were significant enough to either prevent them from getting credit or cause them to pay higher interest rates as a result of getting credit. That's a very alarming number. The scary part is, when I see credit reports, and because I'm trained and I know credit very well, I can find flaws in pretty much any credit report. Now, that doesn't mean that the credit reporting agencies are doing anything wrong. It just means that a lot of the data that gets fed into it could be wrong. So perhaps the collector entered an incorrect piece of data,
Right.
or something that was paid 3 years ago, somehow the payment information never got forwarded, or there was a communication breakdown between the collector and the actual initial creditor. So there's so many different pieces of information that, if you think about how many millions of Canadians have credit reports and how many millions of bits of data go on these reports, there's got to be errors.
Yeah. The other thing that I've seen happen is that people, if they know there's an error or they find out something, it's so hard to get a hold of the credit bureau to get anything changed and fixed.
Oh, we hear that every single day.
It's like almost impossible.
Well, we're in business because of the breakdown. If it was easy for people to fix their own credit, they could just make a phone call to the credit reporting agencies and it would be just fixed on the spot, I wouldn't have a job. This simply would not be a viable business. I'm in business because we get hundreds of phone calls every day and hundreds of applications every single day from Canadians all across the country who are saying, I'm frustrated, I give up. Or they've tried to, and they've actually ended up making their credit worse, which is even a bigger problem.
Right. Right. Okay, so you're going on Dragon's Den today. Before we finish off, can you give us a tip, a credit tip of the day, something that somebody should do?
Tip number one, and the most important one, is check your credit.
Right.
Always check your credit. Don't get your friend, the mortgage broker, to pull it up for you, because every time the mortgage broker's
unless you really want a mortgage, huh?
Yeah, if you're getting a mortgage,
but
absolutely.
just for fun.
And
yeah.
call the mortgage man too.
Right.
But the fact is, every time someone else pulls your credit, your score is going to go down.
Right.
Your points, your score is generated. Nowadays, everything is based on score. CMHC wants to make sure your score is a certain value. The banks have their criteria of your score value. Go directly onto the credit reporting agency and pull your own credit.
You can access it through the web, right?
Through the web. It's completely web-based. Not to promote them because, but I guess the truth is you are entitled to one free credit report per year as well.
Right.
So there is that avenue as well.
Okay, well, you have heard from Sheldon Wolf at Canada Credit Fix, and we've got the 800 number there on the screen for you if you want to give their company a call if you need help. Sheldon, thanks again for coming up to see us.
Pleasure.
And be sure to let us know how things went on Dragon. Do they broadcast every pitch? Are you definitely going to be on TV?
They don't broadcast every pitch. They have, I guess, the cutting room floor like everyone else.
Okay.
There's I guess, a good mix that are TV quality, I guess, and
Right.
some that simply aren't. We're looking forward to being on TV, and like I
Well,
said,
you look TV ready, and your friend here, I forget her name, but she looks TV ready. So I hope you guys make it, and I hope you're successful. When are you allowed to reveal what transpired?
I think they give us the notice. I think they give us the notice when we're allowed
Okay,
to
so
start
they'll
talking,
tell
the
you.
good old confidentiality
They'll
agreement, so.
they'll let you know.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely, and I'll be the first to let you guys know. for sure.
Okay, excellent. So again, thanks for joining us. Good luck this afternoon. I'm David Grossman. You're watching Keeping It Real, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.